Probably the most important chapter in the Bible about singleness is 1 Corinthians 7. Paul says in verse 25, "Now concerning the unmarried, I have no command from the Lord, but I give my judgment as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy." Paul goes out of his way in 1 Corinthians 7 to show that it is not sin to marry, meaning that people, men and women in love with Jesus, can make much of Jesus by marrying other people who love Jesus. So this is not an argument about right or wrong, single or married, but an argument about good and better. And what's his argument? He says in verse 38, "So then he who marries does well, and he who refrains from marriage will do even better." So what stuck up for me as I was studying these verses in writing the book was here in verse 25 when Paul says, "I have no command from the Lord, but I give my judgment as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy, faithful." I felt Paul saying to me, leaning in and saying to me, "Do you trust me?" Because Paul's saying, "I give no command, but I give my judgment," we're probably likely to read that and say, "Take it or leave it." And most of us, because we want to be married, we're just going to leave it behind. Good for you, Paul. I'm glad you could stay unmarried, but I'm going to get married. I want to be married. But I don't think Paul's saying, "Take it or leave it" here. I think he's saying, "You can trust me. I know what's good for you. I know what's best for you. Trust me." And so I just want to ask you, as you read these verses in the Bible, do you trust him? Do you trust him about singleness? Do you trust him about your singleness? Do you trust him about marriage and sexual immorality and money and dishonesty and divisions in the church? The question really underneath this question is, what role does this book play in your life? Is it a library of good ideas that may or may not apply to you? Or is this the foundation under your life and hope and happiness? I want you to want to think about singleness the way that God thinks about singleness, no matter what anyone else thinks about singleness. I want you to want to feel about singleness the way that God feels about singleness, no matter what anyone else feels about singleness. Don't settle for thinking and feeling and doing just like everybody else. No, lean into these words from God. The Apostle Paul wasn't writing an opinion piece in your local newspaper. No, these are words breathed out by God and profitable for you, for your singleness, for your marriage, for your ministry, that you would be complete, lacking nothing, prepared for every good work. Could singleness be better than marriage? God himself says yes. So trust him and enjoy and take advantage of every single year that he gives you.